University 150. Here we are doing remote instruction. So I just want you to know that I'm available online, and I have been corresponding with you. I prepared 2 different scripts and sent them to students. The first script was about the plan, and so I did tell students that I would be making this YouTube video. Following the video, I will record the URL and send an email so that you can watch the video. Many students have completed the assignments for the first 8 weeks of class. Unfortunately, some students are behind, so I do want as many students as possible to complete the assignments and move on to English 110 successfully. So I did post the notes for please take the first 5 quizzes. Even if you left your textbook in the dorm or where you were living and your home, you can just guess. And I think that you will be able to take the quiz enough times so that you will get a good score on the quiz. According to the 8th week, students were supposed to finish the midterm between February 28th and March 7. I did email students that I have downloaded the essays. Those are the ones I need to grade. Students are asked to read chapter 5 and work on the journals. Looking for students to finish essay 2, and I did return some drafts by email today. I have a scanner at home, so I scanned the drafts that students didn't pick up from class, and a couple of students emailed me the draft. I reviewed it and returned it, so I'll do my best to help students improve their papers. I did receive an email from the Writing Center that they are doing tutor review by computer, so you can still get a review on your paper to help you improve your draft so that the final will be more successful. We are working on chapter 5, chapter 6. There are only 6 quizzes, so there is a chapter 7 and 8 in the book, but there is no quiz. The last 2 chapters are about research and documentation styles, so I will have to include that in our instruction, the difference between MLA, APA, Chicago, so that students are familiar with some of the sources they can use if they have papers in the future that are prepared in a different style of documentation. All right, so that is the overview, and I did check my email to see if students had questions about what I listed on the first script. So here we are. It is really not week 10, it's week 11 because we had 2 weeks spring break, and a little bit confusing chain of events here. So I want you to do your best to focus on the assignments that we have in order to be successful. I started with the requirements for new assignments, which include the second presentation, the third essay, ePortfolio 1, and as I've mentioned, Chapter 5 quiz. For the second presentation, I emailed students an alternative to having a physical presentation in the classroom. I've received 1 PowerPoint and a couple of scripts that would have been used for a presentation. So I'll record that in the hard copy of my grade book, and then later I will type the points in for Blackboard. It is a 3-point assignment. Please don't forget any of the parts. If you look at the requirements, the advice for other students is part of your essay so that you can think about choosing a major, why it's important to you, what pressure are you under, and what advice would you have for the next group of freshmen coming on campus who have to decide on a major. The third essay is an article review or article response, and there is an example in the classroom. So the requirements are different from a regular essay because you are sharing your view of the article and the author's opinion as well as your own opinion. So I'll start with an article which I have used to teach with in class before. The person's name is Bridget Suvansri, and she wrote an article called Diverse Books Help Kids Discover Social Justice. I'm not sure that students do study political science or government early enough, and this is a middle school teacher. She thinks that politics should start young, that middle school students should start thinking about the world, politics in different countries, issues that people living in different countries are dealing with, so that we are not looking at only the view from the United States. So she has a very strong bias that it is necessary to expose students to multicultural literature and specifically issues that people may have in other countries. In the introduction, she said it is our responsibility as teachers to bring social issues to the middle school classroom in relevant ways. Another professor says that literature is thought-provoking. It allows us to raise questions, gives us a deeper understanding of issues and situations. So in her article, she uses clear bullets and she uses numbers for her bullets. The reasons why she supports using multicultural literature are: one, read between the lines. So that using diverse literature allows kids to discover justice on their own through reading and interpretation. So they're going to make judgments about whether the person's family made the right decision, whether the person himself or herself made the right decision, whether the government made the right decision in a situation which might not happen in the United States, but would be unusual for the student to think about. The example is Esperanza Rising, says that the book brings up issues of immigration and fair working conditions. So in another country, the employment situation is not the same as here, and so the work conditions might not be as profitable as a job here in the United States with laws for minimum wage and so on. The second reason she gives is reading multicultural literature helps students walk in someone else's shoes. And so if the teacher expands students' understanding of the world, the students are one step closer in becoming responsible global citizens. So not just citizens of one country, but world citizens, understanding other countries in the world, situations that people in those countries deal with. The example is Otsuka's When the Emperor Was Divine. And so Japanese culture is fascinating to many people now, especially with the world of video games. But, the emperor was considered a god. And so that's an interesting title, When the Emperor Was Divine. The third reason that she gives for saying that multicultural literature is positive is that it breaks down walls. In the classroom, I'm not sure you're aware of or you had that opportunity, but people are not just pen pals with somebody across the world writing letters, getting letters back, but having video chats, using email, multicultural communication through the computer is much more exciting than just paper and pencil. So in today's classroom with the technology, students are not just reading, but they're also asking questions of people in those cultures. There is one example here about I Am Malala, and another one called Level Up Village, and understanding education, gender equality, leadership, because Malala's family was going to deny her an education. Women don't need education, and so that's an issue that middle school students would be curious about and learn about. The fourth point is spring into action. There is a writer called Yep, Dragon Wings, and so you're looking at being part of the community, changes in community, and if a student is on a video chat talking to someone in Kenya or Ghana or China or Japan, then they can discuss issues such as gender stereotypes, global warming, access to resources, many different topics to get a first-hand opinion and first-hand information from someone from another country. So the teacher does have a very strong bias. If I am a parent, maybe I don't want my students or my children exposed to violence or traumatic experiences. And so in today's world, people just turn off the news because they don't want to be upset about what's going on. All the news seems terrible. But closing our eyes doesn't help people face and improve situations. Although some parents might say, no, I don't want my child to read a book about war or other political situations in other countries. So it is an argument. The writer has a strong bias, and if I wrote an essay about it, I could find a lot of reasons to support her. I could also find reasons to oppose her. So the third essay that I'm asking students to write is summarize what the writer is saying, what is the writer's stance on the issue, and then look at the article to see specifically what you agree or disagree with. And also the MLA citation for the article is part of the assignment. So I did break down in my notes in the script, paragraph by paragraph, how the model essay is written. So if you click on essay 3, you will see the PDF file. I went over this in class. Students did have a chance to find the essay. May have forgotten, that was 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it is sitting there in Blackboard. It's a 7-paragraph essay. The most important part is how to start. The summary should not have your opinion in it. It is totally exactly what the writer said. What is the opinion of the writer? What is the title of the article? And then you move on to your opinion, which can be the second paragraph, can be 2, 3 sentences. The next part is what specifically do you agree or disagree with. You can totally agree with it in 2 paragraphs in the body. You can totally disagree with it in 2 paragraphs in the body. The model essay takes 1 paragraph for this is what I agree with. The next paragraph is a separate paragraph about this is what I disagree with. And then the conclusion is again a review. This is the writer's claim. This is my stance on the issue. An important statement might be a good conclusion because who cares about this topic? Why is it relevant? Why is it important? That makes a nice 1 or 2 sentences to finish up the discussion. I will warn students that the essay is not a persuasive essay. You are not writing an argumentative essay. You are discussing an article. And I would say that about 40% of my students receive low grades because they just see it, write a persuasive essay, don't discuss an article, don't cite an article, don't have any quotations from an article. So it doesn't meet the description of the assignment exactly. After you finish essay 3, I am asking you to start with your ePortfolio Part 1 and then again Part 2. The ePortfolio, after you've already set up your website and posted about me and my passion, is to write a 300-word essay. What did you learn the first 5 weeks? Here are my first 5 journals, and here is my analysis of essay 1. I filled out the checklist, and I attached the checklist to WordPress. Then you do the same thing 2 more times. So ePortfolio 2 is what did you learn weeks 7 through 11, journal 6 through 10, and then I get the second essay back, or I get the midterm back, and then you do an analysis of that, prepare the checklist, and attach it to WordPress. The third part is a little different, and I didn't mention that in the notes. The final reflection essay is not 300 words, it is 500. It takes the place of a final exam. Those students who did not pass the midterm, if you get a 1 instead of a 3, the final essay is a chance to get a 3 and to have most of the criteria met, which were goals for the class in the rubric. To have a 10 or above and no 1s would be a 3, which is a passing score on the writing sample placement test. Okay, so again, the quizzes on Blackboard are available. It is best to finish all the quizzes. You can send me an email if you missed your quiz. If you took it, I can't see the score. I physically have to go back in and enable the score to show, because if I put a 0 in there, the score is not going to show unless I click your grade on Blackboard. I would remind students to please go ahead and finish the 2 extra credit essays. The 2 extra credit essays will help you measure your progress, especially if you want to see right now how do you stand with your writing, because you started essay 2 in February and you're starting essay 3. It takes a while to finish it and get it back. If you do your extra credit essay, I will try to review those and send them faster. Usually the whole class won't do it, so I'll have a few, and you can get an update on how you stand on writing an essay and meeting the requirements of the writing sample placement test rubric. Are you making more mistakes? Are you making fewer mistakes? How much progress are you making? And so on. And so I did write in the notes that the extra credit essays to me don't take long. Students can write an essay in 30 minutes. I don't know how long proofreading and revision would take you, but the feedback will be good and the grade will boost your overall course grade. So I am encouraging students to do the extra credit essay. So I will be checking Blackboard, posting grades on Blackboard, grading the midterm, grading essay 2, grading the WordPress ePortfolios. So please send me your email with your questions about the remaining assignments. And I do believe that the ePortfolio assistants are meeting students in the chat room so that you can have a Zoom session to answer your questions about preparing your WordPress. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope the video will be helpful. I will try to make another video, and if I send you the script and you send me your questions, I can also answer your questions in the next video. So thanks for listening, and see you next time. Bye.